All right, we're going live. Let's see what's going on. Let's see. Yeah, I'm supposed to be doing something. Um, let's check it out. Wow, this is interesting. Let me get my microphone up here so I can actually be heard. Let's go to comments.
Hey, you know though.
Um, Busy.
Hey, you want? Can I use your wallet for 3D printing stuff under $30?
Not right now. All right. So anyway, yes, told my son we were going to go out um, this morning and do some things. So I want to make sure that we do that. And that means we're going to hit some great topics or interesting topics. I get a lot of conversation from people about this program, that program, online, offline, MLM, network marketing, direct sales. What's going on in the industry. Hey, did you hear about this? Did you hear about that? And yeah, it's been a long time since I actually took the time to come on and just kind of talk about the industry. My main focus, and this is where my energy goes, my main focus is on, what is happening in the blockchain crypto space and how it's transitioning and connecting with traditional finance. I think that's more important. That's where my energy goes. That's where my knowledge comes from. And that's really where I want to really focus. I'm all about, positive energy and moving it forward. But you got to be real sometime and you got to just lay it out there and just kind of capture this conversation kind of at one time. Let's just lay it out and have this conversation. So I thought I'd do a live because it saves me a lot of time um, when I am trying to post up and educate, the community in the groups. So with that being said, I do want to address. There's this massive, massive elephant in the room, but there's a twist to these things, and that's what you kind of have to recognize, right? There's always a twist, and when you have been in a space long enough to see, right? And I'm talking about this online space. I'm talking about exploring alternative opportunities in this online space. And you have to really, really, really keep your eyes and ears open to what's going on. If you're not aware of what's happening and what has happened, and you don't understand the trends, then you could get chewed up in this industry. It's a very challenging thing. And I've seen it happen numerous times. What do I mean? Well, if you're not really paying attention in this space, you could easily find yourself rebounding from something offline that took money from you. What do I mean? Well, if you're offline, not online, if you're offline, right, and your job is working with some big Fortune 500 company or Fortune 100 company or just a local company, if the local company, you're probably going to get laid off or fired. They're probably going to shut down at some point because when I say Walmart as an example. I'm not saying they're a bad company. I'm just saying Walmart comes through and most of the mom and pop stores start to lose a lot of their customer base. There are going to be some solid people that's going to hang with you. It's going to be right there tight with you. Maybe in Tupelo, Mississippi, somewhere. They're going to make sure they go to the mom and pop store. But when it comes to some of the bigger cities, around the nation, then when Walmart shows up, a lot of these mom and pop stores, corner stores, the, what is it called? Bodega, whatever, all these things start to shut down. And then people lose their job, right? So I looked at this and said, I spend a lot of time on the online space, but I actually do experience furloughs, right? And if you understand that there are times that companies have to restructure And as time goes on, even though you believe, hey, if I work for Meta, if I work for Facebook, if I work for Microsoft, if I work for United Airlines or Delta, I'm secure. Like I got a retirement plan. I got 401k. Boy, let my man Daryl Porter talk to you about 401k and retirement plans. Man, you'll jump off, your whole financial, pedestal at that point because all that's smoke and mirrors, right? But man, and you really got to hear his speech about earning income and passive income. But he really helps us to understand what's going on with those plans that you have on those jobs. But what we're really talking about here is you have to look at it for what it is, right? You have the online platforms that come and go, and most people attack those online platforms. There is no shortage of people that want to find a popular platform and call it a scam. And when that platform exits, they don't care about what the reason is, but they just put it on their list of another scam, right? And there may be legitimate reasons for it. So I'm not here to bash anybody or any company or any platform or any project. That's not what I'm here to do. But I am here to have a conversation about you have to be very careful when you are exploring varieties of opportunities online. But you got to be aware that it's no different than the multitude of companies that's laying off people every day, right? So if you lose money online, or if you lose money because you don't have a salary or an income, what's the difference? It's a loss. It's a loss. And do you feel better because you got a furlough letter or email that said you don't have to come to work because your job is gone? Do you feel better about that than if you put money into a program online and they rug pull? Do you feel better because you got a letter versus your money disappear at one time? No, I don't think you feel better. I think they're both equally bad, right? So, and when you have companies that lay off 30, 40,000 people, and then they bring on a new GM or CEO and pay them $950,000 with stock options, right? Total salary is like $3 million. You're like, how does that work? Like, how does that happen? But this is the society, this is the time that we're in because it's happening. And it happened over the last 2.5 years. It's been happening a lot. And so I want to give you, because I can't spend a lot of time on here today because this stuff is crazy. So I want to talk about the differences. But you know what I'm going to start off with? The elephant in the room. Yes, there is. Oh, what happened to my feed? Wow, that's weird. Uh, very odd. Where did it go? Um, I don't know what happened. I mean, you may see me, but I can't see my screen. This is very odd. What happened to my screen? What is going on? Guys, I am baffled. I don't know where. Hold on. Let me figure this out here because I see it still going, but I don't see my actual screen. Why is it not showing me the StreamYard? Where's StreamYard? Wow, that's weird. I never had that happen. Whew, okay, I found it. Some kind of way, it literally jumped off of this screen and sent me to it just took me off, right? So I apologize for that. But yeah, here we go, right? So we're going to talk about, like I said, the elephant in the room is BG Well, right? BG Well. People have been talking about that a lot. Like I got friends, like, oh my gosh, I got a lot of friends that's just nonstop about that, right? Over the last 4 or 5 months, and I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good, right? But then I said, okay, let me see what y'all talking about. And I'm gonna give you this story because I want you guys to know that I literally review at least 80% of the things that are sent to me. And when I see it, either it's something that I've seen before, or it's something that I don't really care about, or it's something that I'm already doing. Like it's just one of those things. So a lot of people got involved with this whole thing. and everybody was talking about how great it was and it's simple, click, 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 and all this kind of stuff, right? So I'm going to just tell you this because I don't want to make you feel like I'm going to go down this road of like dragging anybody through the mud. That's not the point. But I want to highlight this because I hear it a lot. It's in the news. Everything is there. Well, I think within the last couple of weeks, my brother-in-law, he was telling me that couldn't access it, couldn't get in, and it just the signal, just getting that thing to work. And my take on it was, in these type of programs, when they are trying their best to stay away from the legal, chasers, right? Because you got these people that are online that they pride themselves as being the scam police. No matter what the program is, they just chase them. And so they get connections out there, they get some kind of IT people behind them, and they literally go after any popular program. So BGF just happened to be the one that was the most popular in that sense. So people were saying, "Oh my gosh, we can't access the server because they got the connection with the DSJ exchange." And so, of course, I did the research. I looked into all of this. Some people are like, DSJ is not legit. The Steven guy is not real. I mean, all these kind of things, right? So everybody got their opinion about that. I'm just giving you just information. So when this is going on, you repeatedly hear the complaints. I mean, it pops up on Telegram, it pops up on YouTube, everywhere. There's people talking about it everywhere. So it's no secret that the exchange and the servers were not connecting as efficiently as they were before. Now, if they're touting or tooting that they have 400, 500, 700,000 people, which is a ridiculous number, which is like, it's hard to fathom, those numbers. I don't know if it's true or false, so I can't say yay or nay. This is what I see. This is what I hear, that they have 500,000. I saw something today that said they had over 750,000 people in the program. Okay. Now, if it's as simple as click and click and click, that could be real, because that's a pretty simple deal to make money, right? 1.3 to 1.8% a day. But here's the thing, that when I evaluated that, when it says that you need to bring 5 people, that brings 5 people just to get that first bonus. Like, what? So that right there is an absolute challenge for anybody, right? So what was happening is people were actually paying for other people because they were advised, right, to do this. Pay for other people to build those 5 out, right? So now you're taking money that you maybe earned, or you're taking it from your house payment or something, and you're building out these 5. So you got 35 people just to get one bump. I'm like, wow, that's crazy, right? But it is what it is. So all the time this is going on, last couple of weeks or so, I'm hearing that, hey man, the servers are, some challenges with it. I did have a friend of mine. He actually said, hey, look, I got you. I said, look, if you want to put me in, that's on you. But I'm no good with, timing, and I'm just very bad at timing. So if it's twice a day, 3 times a day, whatever, I'm gonna miss it, because I just don't function that way, right? So anyway, so that was the case basically. Somebody put me in, I said fine. Every now and then I would click, every now and then I miss it. That's just craziness, right? And I would still see people like, oh man, I'm making this much. I started off with $500, and 3 months later I'm at $5,000. And I'm like, well, that's amazing. It's kind of crazy, but amazing. You didn't talk about the other part where you put more money in, right? So anyway, this is the case today. So I've listened to other people talk about it, and I said, man, you know what? I got people hit me up, and I know a lot of people that's in it. So I said, okay, let me get on and talk about it. But I want to talk about it in a specific context, right? We're not just talking about a potential rug pull or a potential scam or whatever. What we're saying is, this is indicative of the bigger nation, the bigger community. Right? This is not just local, this is national, international, because what's happening in one is happening across all industries, right? It doesn't matter if you're working a job and you get a letter that says you don't need to come back to work. You just lost your money. But if you get scammed over here, you lost one time. If you get scammed from your job, you've lost for a long time. So which one are we really talking about? Why are we not talking about, let me help you shift from where you are into something that will help you long term, right? Look for things that make sense. Look for things that have a foundation. Look for things that is not a trend today and gone tomorrow. Look for something that's ahead of the trend and get in there and get in front of it. When you look at my other videos, I talk about the wave of wealth. Why are you trying to get crushed by a wave when you could surf the wave if you get into the right wave, right? So you got to be careful on where you are and what you're trying to do. Because if you just lost your job and now you just jump online and you sign up for anything and everything, what do you think you're going to do? You're going to see the most popular thing, and that popular thing is going to be the one that attracts you, right? If they got 750,000 people, there's somebody probably in your neighborhood that's doing it. And you're probably going to hear about it somewhere in your circle. That's the challenge, because the person that's talking to you, they probably just signed up because they were excited and had no idea how risky that was, right? I've been in this industry for literally probably 6 or 7 years, focus on what's good and what's not. And I'm going to tell you, if you did a risk analysis or risk assessment on that program, you would have seen it is a massively high risk program. If you can handle that risk, then you can handle the loss. Simple as that. But at the end of the day, was it a loss? Because here's an interesting thing. My brother-in-law just told me this morning, hey, I was able to access the signal. Interesting, isn't it? So yesterday, it was about we can't access these servers, and everybody on YouTube and everywhere, like we can't get in, we can't get in. It's all, you know what? I mean, I could show you numerous, numerous YouTubes and numerous, what's this other one? Facebook, Telegram. They're all saying it. But my brother-in-law was like, look, I got in and I did my signal this morning. Think about that, right? So here's what's interesting about these projects. They're way more sophisticated today than they were yesterday. Some will come and go. Some will come and stay for a while. But if you've ever listened to me talk about these projects, you know one thing is quite consistent. Every program has a lifespan. If it's not tied to something like real estate, something with RWA, legit nodes, legit programs that have substantial backing, connection with traditional finance, right, at the highest levels, they got a lifespan. You don't know what that lifespan is going to be. So you have to be prepared when you walk in, find the exit at an appropriate time, and then you'll be just fine. But if you don't know how to do that, you won't be fine, and you will lose your mind when there's one hiccup, right? Can't get the withdrawal. If it usually happens in 24 hours and you don't get it, you're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. You know, everybody's panicking, right? But if you understand the rules of the game, then you'll be fine. All I say is, when you do get tired of the nervousness, when you get tired of going through that drama of if it's going to work, it's not going to work. Somebody's asking you, somebody's saying it's this, is that, it's a Ponzi scheme. It's not going to work. It's high risk. Is that and when you get tired of that, then you have to go for plan B, right? Shift to something that's more solid, shift to something that makes more sense, shift to something that has the RWA as the foundation, and then you'll be a little bit more calm and understand that you're probably going to get the return on your deposit or equity. Okay. So I'm going to talk about a couple of things while that goes on. So sum it up. I just heard this morning, yesterday, big problems, the whole guy, the Steven guy was, saying, calm down. I hadn't slept for 30 hours, all this kind of stuff. Today, my brother-in-law says, hey man, I just went in, click it, bond chat. Boy, when I hear bond chat, I'm be like, oh my gosh. But but he was like, yeah, it worked. I was like, oh, I didn't even look. All right, so check it out. So we talk about that, right? So this is why I gave you the example of furlough with the federal government. Been there, done that more than once. That's true. You don't get paid on furloughs, by the way. And layoffs, legit layoffs, like a Meta, like a Microsoft, Oracle, Walt Disney, all of that. People lose money. Not like a one time, okay, I put $500 in the program and the program stopped paying. You lost $500. But when the company stops paying you, you lose $500 a week. But we don't talk about how bad it is for the people and the families when they lose their income. But we're going to go hard when a company takes your $500. Did you understand the risk? Was that disposable income? Or did you take that out of your kid's college fund? Like where did you get that 500? I mean, in our world, that's not a lot of money. But for somebody, that's a lot of money, right? So I'm just saying, you got to understand your risk. I had a great conversation with my guy Anthony yesterday. Anthony, um, here in California, Anthony Hale, good friend of mine, longtime friend. He is one of the smartest guys I know. Very analytical, and I depend on him to keep me straight on the analytics. And we really talked about these things yesterday, and we're looking to do some business and start an actual program where we can help people evaluate a lot of these things before they get in them. Because I do that anyway, so I might as well help people with that. So I want to talk about, yep, I got a piece of paper right here. I want to talk about not just that one. So recently there was an article about a couple of companies. There was the direct selling company called Forever Living. I know a lot of people that are overseas. Then I come back to the States. I bought some of the products. I like the products. I think they're great. But if you understand the direct selling industry, when they throw that MLM on it, the prices of those products go up tremendously. And then they start to throw that auto ship on you. And so I've always been against that, right? I think me and my wife did a program back in 2007 with Winterlight, and it was a product based, but people loved the product, but the company was ahead of its time. That's the way I look at it. And so things we left anyway. We just moved on to something else. But at the end of the day, I don't have a problem with the industry. I just think that it needs to do a little better with how their business model works. Because they are charging way too much for stuff that you can go to the store and buy way cheaper, and people have learned that, and so the industry is dying basically. I know I said don't quote me on that now. I don't know the whole industry, but I know that it's not as prevalent as it was when 2007 2008 we were physically in the industry. And now when you look at what's going on, I'm gonna give you some examples here in a minute how it's imploding basically. um Here are some companies that furloughed and laid off. And I know you probably know this too. So when we talk about, oh, BG, oh my gosh, this scam is going to rug pull, it's going to take your money and run away. It's high risk. That's all I can say. But at the end of the day, let's talk about the ones that's doing it on the other side. Meta. How many people did Meta lay off in 2026? Well, what you may not know is all those people that they probably hired over time to do a metaverse and a new coin and run a whole exchange and do all the things that they thought they were going to do. And then all of a sudden, poof, where did that metaverse go? I mean, you remember Zuckerberg walking around like he was in the metaverse and it's going to be the next big thing and NFTs. What happened? You spent like $80 billion and it just poof. You don't even see it and you don't even talk about it no more. It's gone. Bye. Exit stage left. Right? Guess what? In 2026, in January, Meta laid off 16,000 people. Oh, and that's not all, right? Then they came back in March, they laid off 16,000. In April, they laid off 8,000. Why don't we call that a rug pull? You didn't tell the person when you hired them that, hey, look, you're going to be good until March, and then we're probably going to lay you off. Yeah, we'll pay you 80, 90,000 a year because you got the skills, you're going to help build out this AI. But you're only good for about 6 months. They don't think they told them that up front. So do you expect one of these online programs to tell you up front, look, in about 6 months, we're going to scam out. We're going to rug pull. What's the difference? Both are losses. And I think if you go to a large organization like Meta and you feel like you're on the cutting edge of technology and AI and all the great things that technology does, and you're in the middle of your projects, helping them to grow their company, and then you get an email one day because the administration has changed, right? So the influence of the administration today is causing this ripple effect, period. And 24,000 people in 2 months were told, you don't have a job here no more. You know they were working on these projects. You know they were helping build that company. You know their expertise was being used, and they probably were in various locations around the globe, depending on that job for their livelihood and their family. If I make a $500 investment and I lose it, I'm not dependent on that for my family. But if I have a legit job and I'm working every day and they scam, rug pull, lay me off because of their personal interest, that's bad, right? So you got to look at this thing for what it is. Look at it for what it is. I am not promoting high risk online platforms, not telling anybody to go to boycott real jobs and just go online and just throw your money away. Please don't get me wrong here now. Whew, boy, that'll be taken out of context like massively. There's probably some real online YouTube scam watchers out there that's like, we got him. We're going to talk about that one piece that he said. Don't go to a real job. Just go online and get scammed 50 times and you'll be okay. No, I did not say that. I categorically deny that. But what I am saying is Oracle laid off 30,000 people in 2026, not last year, not the year before. They laid off others back then. But in 2026 alone, in the first 6 months, right? Because we ain't even got to 6. I'm just saying within the first 6, 30,000 Oracle, big IT, right? Massive. Yeah. The CEO is partners with our current administration. So the links are there. Why are they laying off so many people when they're connected to this particular administration? They said, I watched MSN this morning and they were like, yo, did you know that this current, person in charge of the US, he just went over like $6.5 billion or something in crypto. I was like, what? Anyway, let's move on. Walt Disney laid off 1,000. Wow. Volkswagen. I don't know if anybody's in Germany. I know somebody in Germany. Volkswagen laid off in 2026 50,000 people. Is Volkswagen not being sold anymore? Because I honestly hadn't seen a Volkswagen in a while. UPS, guess that number. UPS, yeah, our friendly brown truck guy running around every day, dropping off my packages at 8:30 at night. Now I know why. 30,000 people laid off. Do you not believe these people have families, most of them? Do you not believe that these people cannot afford to lose that money? But we hear somebody say, oh, don't invest what you're not willing to lose in these online platforms. Well, you invested in your education. You invested in learning about UPS. You invested in learning about Microsoft. You invested in learning about, Meta. You went and took that job for 80, 90, maybe over $100,000. 6 months later, you're told your service is not needed anymore. Did you negotiate that in your interview and that onboarding with the HR folks? Hey, y'all need to let me know before you're gonna kick me out. Oh, I'm gonna need a severance if you get rid of me, within 6 months. Did you negotiate that? Probably not. Probably not. But yeah, we're gonna attack those MLM guys over there. We're gonna attack those direct sales. We're gonna attack that crypto. Oh, crypto. Look, man. When crypto became part of the conversation of MLM, network marketing, direct sales, oh my gosh, it went from, hey, this is a great business model to you do crypto on top of it. That's no good. Trump, back in his first administration, what did Trump say in his first administration? Same thing as Jamie Dimon. What did they say? Bitcoin? Oh my gosh, that's play money. Don't even know. Please get that away from me. That's never going to work. 3 years later, you think they just woke up and started making their own crypto? They've been doing it for years. So how do you, without me going too far into this, how do you structure your mentality to think that when they say this is no good and it's financially viable and people are making a killing, you don't think they're behind the scenes trying to figure out how they can get in on it? And then 3 years later, they make over $6 billion on a launch of a Trump coin. And guess how many Americans left holding the bag? Because you don't understand how crypto works. You don't understand how the blockchain works. You don't understand how the exchange works. And therefore, you're part of the 2 point something million people that purchased the Trump coin. And guess what? They lost over 4 million, right? In like the first like month or whatever it was. If you look at the scale, it starts here and it just goes straight down. But guess what? It had to start at the bottom and go up. And then at a point, it went from up to down. So who was at the bottom when it first started? Oh, wait a minute. The ones that knew about it got in on it and it went up. And then within 1 to 2 days, those people, made that $6.5 billion. Trump had over 3.5 billion of that. And then when it shot back down, most Americans had lost part of that. I'm sorry, I'm looking at it now. It's 4.5 billion that was lost to the people that invested. Over about 2.5 million that invested lost 4.5 billion. And that's ridiculous, right? So it's not just the everyday person, it's at the highest levels. But here's what's crazy, right? Jamie Dimon, he's the person in charge of JP Morgan Chase. I mean, there's so many sound bites of him bashing, just like Berkshire Hathaway's, lead guy, Warren Buffett. They talk so negative about crypto over the years. Guess what? Warren Buffett is invested in a bank, what we call a net bank in Brazil. Guess what they transact? Crypto. Guys, I can't make this stuff up. It's public information. But it's crazy that you hear them say that and you're like, oh, I'm gonna stay away from that Bitcoin stuff. They over there making money off of it. Look at the US government right now. Who's going to deny the fact that a congresswoman is creating that Bitcoin reserve? She really wrote the bill for the Bitcoin reserve, like the US holding Bitcoin to facilitate retirement plans and all this other stuff in investing. This is happening right in our face. And you're still sitting there looking in the mirror saying this Bitcoin is no good. This Bitcoin ain't going to go nowhere. When the FBI is probably one of the largest holders of Bitcoin. Come on, guys, wake up. It's happening right in front of us. This is not new. This is not quiet, right? If you look at I did 2 or 3 videos about the Clarity Act, and I talked about how the DTCC is actually, and they're literally the settlement like arm of literally every trade or transaction on the highest levels in the government in the US. They literally settle over $3.7 quadrillion a year. Quadrillion, right? When we're impressed by BlackRock being the largest asset manager on the earth with their 12 to 16 trillion dollar asset under management, which is a crazy number. But DTCC is doing 3.7 quadrillion, right? They talk a Department of Treasury, securities, all kinds of funds. It's happening, right? And guess what they're doing? They have just gotten permission to tokenize. Yes, tokenization, which is the extension of the blockchain trajectory. They're doing that this year, running the pilot for the first half of 2026 with a blockchain company called Canton Network, and Ethereum's part of that, and Solana's part of that. And there's a few others. They can't all do it. It's too big. So they got to have multiple companies doing it. So that's happening already. But tokenization is what's making it happen for all the different RWA industries. Forever Living, another one, right? Some people call it a scheme or whatever, but Forever Living has great products. But guess what? They were like, we're going to have to stop doing business in the US. You can buy the product, but we can't operate our MLM in the US, right? The direct selling is cool, but we cannot continue because of the regulatory constraints. They didn't say they got hit. They didn't say they got penalized. They didn't get fined, but they all of a sudden said, oh, sorry, cutting you off. This is a massive market. So what do you think about the people that were marketing in the US to people in the US? who had networks in the US. What if you were overseas and your biggest network is in the US? Guess what? Can't grow. Can't grow because they decided we are not going to get hit by the FTC in the US because they're tightening it up on us, right? So they shut down that part. Anyway, May 1st, 2026, they're shutting that part down. This is amazing because it's indicative of the larger industry, right? So we can talk about what's happening with Walt Disney laying off 1,000 people. Microsoft lays off people. I don't know if you know about X firm. 90 days they went quiet on us, and then they came back and said, "Hey, we're going to give out refunds." That's just another. That's another aspect to all of this. Some of them will go quiet, right? Some of them say, "Hey, if you pay this fee for for an audit, or we have to restructure because there's been a lot of legal, hackers, people abusing the system, so we're going to need to restructure, right? But we're going to need you to pay a percentage in order to access your account, and then that's okay. Your withdrawals will be unlocked, and we'll continue to operate." You know how many times that's happened? I've seen all of this stuff, right? It's nonstop. It doesn't end. And these organizations do need to be held accountable for the nonsense that they put out there. But at the same time, when you understand the landscape and you start to operate within those guardrails of the understanding, you understand the risk tolerance, you walk into this with your eyes open, and you have a team, you have people that are around you that understand this type of stuff, then you normally will be able to get in, at least get a return on your deposit, and then you can kind of relax or just walk away. Totally up to you. But what is your goal going in? Is your goal to go in and to praise the people that's online sitting behind a desk? So you go to this strange, obscure bond chat and you want to say all this glorious things about a stranger that is talking to you behind a screen as if he's the all in all of everything. He doesn't know you and probably won't ever know you. So, what you're saying to and about him is not going to influence how he acts or reacts. So, save your energy when you get into these online platforms. It ain't personal. I can promise you that. But it feels personal when you lose. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't, have an emotional attachment to what you're doing and helping people to better themselves. But you cannot get yourself personally attached to an online personality that's about to terminate your relationship. So, with that being said, I don't want to continue down this road. Like I said, plan B, right? You got to have a plan B. And that's the only way you're gonna win in this industry. I'm just glad that I've turned a corner. A lot of people that ride with me have seen the difference between what was and what is and where we're going. And really, it's just a great conversation with my guy Anthony Hale yesterday. Really great conversation, and he reminded me of my mission from day one. My mission from day one was to help people, right, attain at least 1K per day through diversification and focus and understanding. The risk tolerance is the first step to win in this industry, right? That's what we're here to do, to win. And we are winning now. So, but we had to pivot. We had to pivot. Um, so if you understand, we started off with BG Well. Look, like I said, I'm not here to bash them at all. I'm just saying if you're making money with that platform, then you make your decision on how you want to roll with that. I've seen that they were talking about you have to pay 12% to get back in the game. Um, this is a script that's been played over and over and over. There's one called LSSC. I was part of that. LTE, we had up to four, signals per day. as they called it anyway. That went exit stage left, right? Then there was another one called wealth sharing that somebody introduced to me. I looked at it, researched it. The virtual offices, the fake people, everything was just not there. And then BG Wealth became kind of the last one that seemed to just couldn't stop. I mean, we were like, it's still going. Like, wow, that's weird. Um, but I mean, what are you going to say, right? At the end of the day, you determine what you want to do with your money, not me, not them, you. I don't have nothing to do with that. What I do have to do is make you aware of the level of risk that you may be getting yourself into. And so that's what I'm here to do. And I'll help you out as much as I can in any way possible. All right. So anyway, feel free to contact me if you want. It's all good. You can comment in the chat. You can, talk bad. You can throw me under the bus. You can do whatever you want. I don't care. But at the end of the day, I know who I am. My integrity speaks for itself. And I've never tried to drag people into something that was no good. Definitely not the way to go and not my intention. It never will be. All right. So I was trying to pull up something, but I don't know if I got it. I don't know if I got it up or not. Just to highlight, a couple of things before I go. Let me see right quick. Oh, yeah, that. This one was interesting to me. I don't know if you saw this guy. Let's go back to this guy, man. This guy is like on like every day, like 100 times, man. It's crazy. Um, I gotta show you this one. Hold on. It's just fascinating. This stuff is like wow, dude. Like there's a new breed of people out today that's getting into the game. And I think they're shocked. All right. So anyway, I don't know if you've seen this particular site. I'm not trying to, show it. I'm just giving you an example of one of the people that has probably the most, views out there talking about, the elephant in the room here. Um, and I'm laughing because it's like I love the way his evolution, right? He was like I would listen to him sometime and he would be talking about it and there was like these good days and then there was these challenges and I mean he was just raw. He's just real with it. Like I don't have an opinion about how he does what he does. I've been in this industry a long time, so I see this stuff all the time. But I love the way that the evolution of his videos is really interesting. And like here he says everyone's talking about BG, yeah, of course. And then he says the numbers don't lie, boom, okay, whatever. And then over here he talks about um banks hate this. He's talking about YouTubers are hating on BG. Get used to it, bro. The BG videos answering the hard questions. I don't know about that. BG risky, real or scam, under attack, truth or I've not watched any of that. Like I had it on, but I didn't even hear it. So I try to listen to some of this stuff. Crypto red flags, okay. You know, good stuff, man. Good stuff. But you know what? I'm gonna tell you what I appreciate about this guy was the fact that he's not afraid of taking on the haters. Like he's not. He's like, I'm just gonna put it out there. And my good friend James Brown, he's a master of marketing, and he did a great Facebook Live about this as well. I want to go back and see if I can pull this up because this is interesting. Um, I hadn't even looked over here to see what it was about. Um, yep, yep. Up, 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 up. And see, these are notorious Ponzi police. These are these YouTubers that have nothing better to do but go after no matter if it's good, bad, or indifferent. Sometimes, you find one that's not doing right, and that's cool. We want you to, highlight that. But don't go after the ones that are doing right, and then you cause them, to get unnecessary attention that takes them down when they haven't done anything wrong, right? And that happens as well. Just so you guys know. And so I told you, like LSSC, this is literally. And let me go to the other part. I don't know if anybody talked about the LTE side, but that was the one that had the actual signals. But as you can tell, it's a lot of those coming out right there. So this lady's like, look, I made my first $1 million. Hey, Blue Sky, what's good? What's good? LSSC, really believe 1,000 trust. No, nobody trusted. But anyway, like this one, LSSC Dallas Premier, I was literally in Texas at the time, and I could not get them to give me a straight answer on, hey, when are you going to have this event? Where's it going to be at? And finally, they gave me the address. And guess what? We actually checked it out, and it was one of those virtual offices, or you can, go in there and rent an office for a day or whatever. And the guy was like, nah, these guys are being under investigation. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? We've seen it so many times. And this is the craziness that we deal with. So I'm just saying it's not going to be just one here or there. It's a lot of craziness that goes on out there. You just have to do your thing to protect yourself, understanding the level of risk. And when you understand your level of risk, then hey, you make a decision and you move on that. I mean, think about it. If casinos weren't taking your money and giving you a little bit, enough to bring you back tomorrow, they wouldn't be in existence. Because of the nature of the human being, casinos thrive. You can put that together if you like. All right. Hey, look, thank you all for hanging with me. And yeah, LSSC definitely left some people salty. That's for sure. And just like, BG is going to leave some people salty, but they are pretty crafty. If I could, I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to extend this out too far, but they're pretty crafty. They are staying one step ahead of the IT people chasing them. And it's a fascinating game that they're playing. But, just like cat and mouse, one day, either the cat gets caught by the trap, or the mouse gets caught by the trap, or the mouse gets caught by the cat. One way or another. It's going down. That's all I'm saying. I advise you all, look, get in touch with me so we can help you pivot, right? Diversification has always been on the table. So if you're having fun, if you're making money with BG, hey, look, I ain't mad at you. Do what you got to do. I'm not advising it. I'm not recommending it. I'm not saying that's what you should or shouldn't do. All I'm saying is casinos are out there, and I can tell people not to go to a casino. Cigarettes have a thing on the side that says if you smoke, you're going to get cancer. Guess what? Nobody cares. So I can't tell you what to do. I can't make you, be more safe. You're going to do what you're going to do. You're an adult, or I hope you are. And so I'm not going to sit here and do that. All I'm saying is when you make your money over there and you get out without, being sucked into this dark, dark hole, we have something over here that will extend and grow that money in a better way. Plan B, baby. That's all I'm saying. Come see me. All right. Well, thank you all for hanging out with me today. I appreciate that. Just wanted to go live for a little bit and bring some reality to this situation. But I think it's still going. I think, like I said, my brother-in-law showed me that, hey, signal worked today. So look here. All I'm saying is take those profits and give me a call, and I can help you grow that into a whole nother way. And I think that's about it for me. All right, but hey, hit me up if y'all got any questions, comments. I'm all for it. It's all good. Thank you, Blue Sky. Thank you, KN2W. I can't see the pictures. My eyes aren't really good. So hopefully it's somebody I know, somebody I don't know. If I don't know you, go ahead and subscribe because there's more great stuff like this coming. All right, peace. Y'all take care, and I'll see you on the next.